Viewer discretion is advised. Jennifer Lawrence just walked into federal court. Not for a movie, but to testify. What she revealed wasn't part of any Hollywood script. Hidden cameras, private parties, silent stars, and a vault of secrets too dark to ignore. This isn't fiction. It's her real-life testimony in the Diddy investigation. For years, she stayed quiet. But today, that ends. What she says next will shock the world, and it might just bring down an empire. No one knew she was coming. No press alerts. No security detail. Just a sleek black sedan pulling up outside the federal courthouse under a gray, overcast sky. And when Jennifer Lawrence stepped out, no red carpet, no makeup team, no designer gown. People barely recognized her. She wore black, head down, jaw tight. This wasn't a premiere. This was a reckoning. Inside the courthouse, murmurs began to ripple like electricity. Some thought it was a mistake. Others thought maybe she was here to support a friend. But then her name appeared on the official witness docket, Jennifer Lawrence, testimony under oath. Everything changed. The courtroom, already filled with media and legal teams for the Sean Diddy Combs trial, fell silent as she entered. The defense team stiffened. Diddy didn't look up. The judge adjusted his glasses. Jennifer walked straight to the witness stand. She didn't glance at the gallery, didn't scan the room for familiar faces. Her steps were purposeful, like someone who had waited too long to speak. The bailiff swore her in. "Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?" "I do," she said. Calm, measured, final. She reached into her coat pocket and pulled out a small, creased envelope, aged, yellowing at the edges. "I brought this," she said, holding it gently between her fingers. "It's why I'm here." The courtroom leaned forward as one. What was in that envelope? A confession? A warning? Evidence? Jennifer's voice cut through the silence. "For years, I convinced myself it wasn't real, that what I saw was just a strange night in Hollywood. But this letter reminded me I was never imagining it." She placed the envelope on the stand. And just like that, the trial changed. Jennifer Lawrence wasn't there to play a part. She was there to tear the script apart. Jennifer unfolded the letter slowly, deliberately. Her fingers trembled, not from fear, but from the weight of memory. She didn't look at the paper as she read the words aloud. She already knew them by heart. They're watching. Don't trust the ones who smile. The courtroom tensed. The judge leaned in. The defense attorneys exchanged quick glances. Diddy, still silent, finally looked up. "I received this in 2018, Jennifer said. No return address. No signature. Just this sentence. I found it under the door of my hotel room the morning after an award show in New York." At first, she dismissed it. Maybe a deranged fan. Maybe a prank. But something about the handwriting felt familiar. That's what haunted her. Not the message, the hand that wrote it. I eventually realized it was from a makeup artist I'd worked with on my first major film. She'd gone off the grid. No social media. No trace. Jennifer folded the paper again and placed it flat on the stand. I kept the letter, tucked it away, but I could never throw it out. She described how, over the years, the warning started to make sense. "Trust the ones who smile," it said. And in Hollywood, everyone smiles. The agents, the publicists, the studio heads, the influencers, the predators. She recounted small moments. People pulling her aside at parties. Whispers about what really happens at certain houses. Roles she was offered, then had mysteriously revoked. Invitations she declined, only to find her name suddenly absent from press lists. It was like there was this invisible map, and I kept stepping off it. She went back to the letter, running a finger across the sentence again. It was the first time someone had tried to warn me, and I ignored it. Now, standing under oath, she made a promise, one she hadn't been able to make before. I won't ignore it again. The courtroom, silent seconds before, now brimmed with energy. Everyone sensed it. Jennifer Lawrence hadn't just come to testify. She had come to confront the machine. Jennifer took a long breath before speaking again. The room was still. You could hear the hum of the courthouse lights. "It was a party," she began, "but not like any party I'd ever been to." She was 24, riding a wave of awards and box office records. The invite came directly from a high-ranking executive. It'll be intimate, they said. Just a few of us. The real insiders. It was at a mansion tucked away in the hills of Beverly. Gated. Armed security. Phones taken at the door. That's normal, she explained. In this industry, they don't want leaks. But the moment I stepped inside, I knew it wasn't about privacy. It was about control. Red lights bathed the main hallway. No music, just murmurs. Men in suits, women in designer gowns. Everyone acted like they were at a museum, silent, poised, performative. I was escorted down a corridor with velvet drapes. That's when they gave me a mask. Said it was a theme. Something fun. She wore it for a few minutes. Enough to avoid suspicion. But curiosity overtook her. She stepped out of the line, slipped the mask off, and opened a nearby door just a crack. What she saw, she would never forget. A man, blindfolded, shirtless. Guests circled him, laughing. Some filming. Some just watching. She didn't know his name, but she remembered the stillness in his body, the way no one moved to help. I felt sick, like I'd wandered into something sacred and violent at the same time. A man with a tray of drinks approached. She declined. That's when a security guard stepped in. He smiled. This area is not for everyone, he whispered, guiding her away. She left shortly after, smiling politely, thanking the host. But inside, she was unraveling. I told myself it was just a weird night. Just Hollywood being weird. She looked at the jury. But weird doesn't leave bruises on the mind. And now, 9 years later, she was finally naming what that night really was. A warning. And she hadn't even seen the worst of it yet. Jennifer's voice dropped to a lower register. Controlled. Calm. But every word landed like a hammer. 3 weeks after that party, I got an offer, she said. A film I'd already passed on months before. Suddenly, they were offering me twice the original amount. Her agent said the studio had reevaluated the creative direction. But Jennifer had a gut feeling. It wasn't about talent. It was about something else entirely. I took the job. I didn't know why. It just felt safer than saying no. But things began to change. Quietly. Subtly. She started receiving messages. Emails from anonymous addresses. Texts from numbers that disappeared after one reply. All saying things that seemed innocuous at first. You looked great in red. Hope you had fun that night. Let's keep the good energy going. Then came the email with the photo. One frame. Grainy. Her face. No mask. Caught mid-step near that hallway at the party. I never saw a camera. I didn't even know someone was watching me. It wasn't threatening. No demands. No blackmail. Just a reminder. From that day on, I felt like I was being managed in ways I couldn't see. Articles that praised me disappeared. Projects I was up for suddenly stalled. Then they'd call with a better offer. She described feeling like a puppet with invisible strings. Someone was controlling the press. The roles. My image. She met with a publicist friend off the record. They told me, "You've been put in a folder. They're testing you." She asked who they were. They never answered. Jennifer realized then that what she saw that night wasn't an accident. It was a recruitment, a test. And the moment she walked out, she became a liability or a potential asset. I chose to stay silent. I thought that was the safest choice. Now, looking across the courtroom, she corrected herself. No, I thought silence would make me invisible. But silence just made me easier to control. The jury watched her closely now. Not as a movie star, but as a woman fighting to take her life back from people who never should have had power over it. Jennifer sat forward now. The hesitation from earlier was gone. She wasn't recounting a memory. She was exposing a system. It wasn't just that party, she said. It was all the ones I didn't go to. She explained how her inbox slowly filled with odd invitations. Private gatherings. No press. No plus ones. Always from someone new, but always connected to someone she'd seen that night in Beverly Hills. I declined everyone, politely. But after the third or fourth no, things changed. Suddenly, she was being left off promotional tours. Studio execs stopped calling. Projects she'd been rumored to headline were reassigned without explanation. That's when I knew, she said. It wasn't about rejection. It was punishment. Jennifer shared how she confided in another actress, someone younger, newer. She told me she had been to a few of the same events, described them exactly the way I remembered, even the red lighting. But that actress stopped returning calls soon after. I heard later she'd signed a major deal and stopped speaking to nearly everyone she knew. Jennifer looked straight at the jury. That's the pattern. They isolate you, reward silence, and erase anyone who won't play along. Then she mentioned something new, an anonymous tip she received last year. A flash drive sent by mail with no note, no sender. Inside, audio clips, conversations she recognized, whispers from parties she hadn't spoken about publicly. I played it once. Then I locked it away. Why? Because I was scared. Because I realized someone out there had been recording everything for years. The courtroom tensed. Jennifer concluded the act with a quiet warning. This isn't about one man or one party. It's a system built on fear, silence, and leverage. She looked over at Diddy, whose expression remained unreadable. But systems break. Eventually. And with that, the judge called for a recess. Not because the court needed a break, but because the truth was beginning to snowball. And the avalanche hadn't even begun. When court resumed, Jennifer's demeanor had shifted. She was still calm, but something else emerged. Urgency. There's something I haven't told anyone publicly, she began, because I was afraid no one would believe me. She recounted a moment in 2019 when she visited a producer's home for what was billed as a casual industry dinner. Small gathering. For guests. All trusted names. No press. No suspicion. But midway through the night, he asked if I wanted to see something real. Said it was something only a few had ever been shown. Curious, and trying not to offend, she followed him downstairs, through a dimly lit hallway, into a cold, windowless room. Concrete walls. Soundproofed. One red light overhead. There was a rack of drives. Labeled. Dated. Some names I recognized, some I wish I didn't. She didn't touch anything. She didn't ask questions. He said, "This is my insurance. Everyone has one if they want to survive." Jennifer realized she was looking at what insiders called the vault, a place where compromising footage, private recordings, and blackmail material were kept. Nothing about it was legal, but everything about it was real. When she left that night, she said nothing. Not to her team, not to friends, not even in private journals. I thought, if I never speak of it, maybe I'll be left alone. But silence didn't protect her. 2 months later, her phone was hacked. Personal messages leaked. No ransom, just a violation. They wanted to remind me they were watching. She had no proof it was connected, but the timing was unmistakable. Now, testifying under oath, she confirmed what others had only whispered. There was a system in place. Not just a party, not just to exploit, but to control forever. Jennifer faced the jury. I used to think power meant who gets the roles. But real power is who owns the footage. And now, she was challenging the owners, publicly. The gallery didn't move. No one blinked. They all knew. What she just revealed might be enough to crack the entire case wide open. The final act didn't feel like a conclusion. It felt like the beginning of collapse. Jennifer stood from the witness chair. Not because she was asked, but because she needed to. The room quieted. Every eye locked on her. "I'm not here because I want revenge," she began. "I'm here because the silence was killing me." She spoke now, without notes, without hesitation. About the years of whispers. About the people, runners, stylists, assistants, who saw more than they ever signed up for, but had no power to speak. About the actresses who were warned, bribed, or erased. They called us stars, but we were shadows. Lit up when they wanted, dimmed when they didn't. She turned to Diddy. "You weren't alone. You didn't build this alone. But you were a pillar. And when one pillar falls, the others start to crack." Jennifer reached into her coat and pulled out a second envelope. This one was fresh, clean, sealed. "It's a list," she said, "of names. Not for the court, for the authorities. People who helped hide what I saw, what others saw, what we lived." Gasps rippled through the gallery. The judge asked if she was sure. "I'm more sure of this than I've ever been of any role I've played." She turned to the jury. "You don't have to believe every word I've said. But if even one thing is true, if even one, then everything deserves to be questioned." Then she sat back down. The courtroom didn't erupt. It didn't need to. The silence was louder than any verdict. Because the world wasn't watching a celebrity testify. It was watching an empire begin to crumble. And at the center of the storm stood Jennifer Lawrence. Not as a victim, not as a star, but as the voice Hollywood spent years trying to mute. Now it echoed,